short one. I've just released a dynamic tentacle, that's it there. That's it. That's what you're looking for, dynamic tentacle. But I thought I'd jump in and just give you a quick little showcase of it. Got a regular puppet here. This here was just a guide for myself, but I left it in, so if you want to use it you can. But all it is, if I open it up, it's got a line of joints. If you want to adjust any of the joints, they're all linked together, so if you just grab the first one, that, when you change that one, it changes them all. So if you got that, you can see how much it flops around. If you want it to be springier, you can do that. You'll add more spring to it. You just gotta remember, if you do that, then it's not going to flop the same way as I designed it, because as you can see it's staying straight up. But then as you reduce it, it'll flop. That's the angle, so if you don't want it to flop very much, do that, but it will do that if you go 0 angle. And if you want to go real floppy, you can do that, but again, it does all that. That is why it's set at where it's set at. 35 degrees around about. You can go tightness, so it's tighter to move the joints. It'll still flop, but it takes more effort for them to move around. Other than that, this is pretty much place and go. So if I come into it and you go play, you can see there it is there. But if I get it, for example, let's turn that off and we'll clone it. And then we're going to grab it and go, it's on not movable for that, and the first piece there should be not collidable and not movable. If you don't want to move your puppet around too much, turn the densities down. If you shrink it, again, turn the densities down, that sort of stuff. All these settings, use judgments. Should we just get it? Just say we want a tail. We should better get it and place it here. Let's just center it. Kinda like that. My suggestion, if you're using it as a tail, just delete that. So that if that first piece there looks like it's actually, maybe give it a bit of angle, so we'll go, say 25-ish. If it'll let me, there we go. Bring it in. I'm going to leave it that size. Let's do that and go play. So as you can see when you move around, see how it's moving the hip around? That's what I was saying. If you don't want to do that, just turn the densities down. If you come in and grab, for example, that piece, you can come into here, turn that one down, and then try it, and see if that's more or less what you want. I, myself, when I do it, I go double tap, select them all, then you can click on any one of them, come into here, and you can adjust the density. We'll give it a 10, and that's all we're adjusting. So now when we do it, it doesn't move the hip around as much. It's still moving it around a little bit. So you could probably reduce it even more, but that is a very big tail. So, but that's how it flops around. If you want to animate it, my suggestion, keyframes. So for example, if I get it and go, let's go back into it and go, let's reduce its density even more. We'll say 5. And just say we want to be, so when the puppet's not possessed. So we're going to grab a not gate, which is that one. When possession is not happening, we'll grab the keyframe. Actually, before I do that, I am going to quickly make them visible and grab that first one. Then animate it. Let's turn the angle up So we can now adjust it to our heart's content. And we can come in and we can go, just say we want it to, I don't know, swing around the puppet sideways. If we hide those two, we can grab, for example, I wouldn't grab the base, but you can grab, can those go away please, thank you. No, they're just going to pop back up again. Go. Let's do that. Do that. If you want to get rid of them, by the way, you can just click on that, or click on that, but there we go, go on that. Just a quick little keyframe tutorial here. And you can turn the rotation lock off and stuff like that to have it fully rotatable. So just so you want to do that, we can come in and go this. I've tried to make it not look too, I don't want to say realistic, but gross. So it's usable for like anything. I was going to go for the whole, make it look exactly like a real one does and stuff like that, but I thought, yeah, that sounds fine. So if we can go like that, okay the keyframe. Let's turn that so we can see them. Do that, and I would always put a little bit of, so you go, say a second up, a second down. So now, when you're playing as the puppet, when you're not possessing it, it's just going to hug the puppet, but when you possess it, it'll slowly place around the back. If you want to add collision, my suggestion is only add collision to some of the pieces and only make it collide with specific objects. So don't come in here and go have them all ticked. Go turn around and say, just say you want it like that. So now it'll only collide with the machine, and then whatever you're using as a machine, so just say if we come to the legs and say those two legs there are machines, it won't work because of the whole thing, and then we can label that as a weapon. So no, we want those to collide with the weapon, and then we can grab that piece we're using is the collidable, so that's collidable with the machine, and just so that the legs know that we're going to make sure it's weapon, so that end piece there should be collidable with these two pieces. It won't because of the way the thing works, but that's the way I would do it. If, again, because it's set up for optimization and stuff like that, if you want to adjust it, go for it, but just remember some of the settings are set up like they are. Let's grab that one. So for example, like if you turn that one off, you can rotate the other way. If you turn the springiness on and stuff like that, it can behave oddly. So like for example, if I give it say 65 springiness and I'll jump in so you can see what I'm talking about, when it goes like that, it goes, but then it's not flopping like a tentacle. But if that's what you want, it does do it. So I just thought I'd put this video up there, letting you know it's up, it's usable. Exit, don't save. There it is there. So when you download it, what you get is literally the tentacle with its basic settings of a little bit of floppiness. You do get the guide. Now, the guide should be roughly the same length as the tentacle, because I used this to map out how big or how long do I want it compared to a puppet. Because there's nothing worse than having, for example, if I go to remix and we grab a puppet, for example, where are we? Like this. Oh, I want to use that, and you grab it, and it's let's just say that size. It's like, then you've got to fiddle around scaling it. As you go bigger, density has to be changed, springiness has to be changed, all this stuff has to be changed. Same with if you shrink it down, because if I get, for example, the tentacle, and if I go boom, copy, let's just turn it around this one, just say we're going to attach it to the head, and we're going to shrink it down to say that size. Let's plonk it on the head. Yeah, that sounds fine. Then we go to play mode. It's doing a whole lot of it's not bad, but you notice it. Whereas if you shrink it down, lower the density as well. So for example, if you come in here now and go this, up the density, let's say half it because we're about half the size, like that. Now when you do it, it still retains this sort of tentacle-ish look with its movements. Painting, it should be easy enough to paint. If you want it to fade, to be one color, with that, when you paint, when you select your paint tool, just say you want it to fade, grab a sphere, and just say you want it dark at this end. So we're going to grab, just say, actually no, we want blue on the other end. So we'll grab the blue of the puppet. We want to blend it in, so we don't want to go this end. Grab the first one. Want to go like that. Get it to roughly about, my suggestion is about halfway. You can go a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, but about halfway is good. And we want to add some blend to it, so we go about that. And then what we're going to do is at each piece, just go click, but then, so I've sprayed it, but don't, just remember where you've placed the cursor, go to the same spot. Just do that. When it gets to the points where it starts to change, you'll see that the fade is actually quite bearable. I normally do them all, even though it doesn't look like it's reaching that last one. I still do it anyway. So as you can see there, I've added the blend, kind of like that. Now it's got a tentacle that's coming off, that changes color. Same with if you want to change how waxy it is, because I've added a bit of gloss to it and waxiness, because that's usually what tentacles are. Again, just double tap, go into here, choose all this sort of stuff. So for example, add, so it's not glossy, no wax. The puppet's at about 60 on that, so we're going to go about the same, so we're at 60. So that should match up with the puppet almost exactly. And there you go. It matches up with the puppet pretty good. So if you want to make yourself a tentacle puppet, or an octopus, or whatever, then there you go. The suckers on the bottom, you can sit there and paint them if you want. I wouldn't bother. Like, who's going to be looking that close? Unless you want to look realistic, then paint it to your heart's content. But me, I personally wouldn't bother. The shape is there. It gives it the look. That's all. It's the look. So that's all I wanted to show you is. So yeah. Like with all my creations, if you use it and you have any issues, just let me know. If you want something done to it and you're not real good at it, let me know that as well. And if it's easy enough for me to do, I'll do it for you. It's no big issue. So for example, you want it, but you want it to have, I don't know, spikes on the end or something like that, and you're too scared to do that. I still recommend giving it a try, but by all means, throw me, can I get one that's more spiky or something like that, more alien looking or less squid-like, more xenomorph looking. Then you can use it as a tail. Just get rid of the suckers. I do have a tail. My tail's called long because it's a long. And it's got less segments than this. So if you want a more fluid tail, my recommendation, use this one and just remove the suckers. You can make it furry. So like for example, we got remix. We can delete that. You can come into here, and if you want to use it as a tail, Just go into each one, remove the suckers from each one. If I can get it to behave itself. Ah, you motherfucker. You was going to do that. Like that. That square you can see is actually the flattening of the bottom to give it the spot where the suckers go. So if you want it to be a full round thing, you can also remove that as well. So like if you come in and go like that, as you can see like the difference in shape. You can see how much thicker it is. So if you do that, if you then grab all of them, come into here, loosen it off a bit. Again, don't do too much. This one here, wouldn't touch it. This one here, jack it right up. Don't have it shiny, you gotta have it rough because we're doing fur. If you come in and look at it like now, then we can come in and grab the style one. Got this. Grab that, and if now if we go, I don't know whether it lets you do multiples when you do it. Oh, it does. What do you know? So there you can see it looks furry. When you do it, it's like a tail. It's just a normal tail. So it doesn't have to be a tentacle. It's only labeled as a tentacle because it's easier to remove than it is to add. So in this aspect, if you want to use it as a tail, that's the way to do it. So that's it. Out of here. Stay safe. Catch us next time. See you.